Ray Gricar was born on October 9th, 1945 in Cleveland, Ohio, and grew up in the city's Collinwood neighborhood. He attended school at the Gilmore Academy, a prestigious Catholic school in Gates Mill, before he enrolled at the University of Dayton, where he became interested in studying law. After working as an intern for the prosecutor's office, it would be here that he would meet his first wife, Barbara Gray, and the couple would marry in 1969. Those who knew Ray described him as quiet, intelligent, and extremely driven. Outside of his work and education, Ray was said to be close to his family and was a lifelong fan of the Cleveland Browns and Cleveland Indians. He also enjoyed travelling and antiques. Gricar began his legal career in Cleveland, Ohio as a prosecutor specialising in prosecuting a series of high-profile cases. Come 1978, the couple adopted a baby girl named Lara, and in 1979, Gricar left Cleveland and moved to State College, Pennsylvania, where Barbara was hired as a professor at Pennsylvania State University. For more than a year, Ray was a stay-at-home dad to their young adoptive daughter before returning to work as an assistant prosecutor in Centre County. In 1985, Gricar ran for the open position of District Attorney of Centre County. He won the election by a margin of 600 votes. He would be re-elected in 1989. Although his career was flourishing, his marriage wasn't, and in 1991, after 22 years of marriage, the couple divorced. Over the years, Ray's career continued to go from strength to strength. He would be re-elected again in 1993. Gricar's office was part-time when he was elected, and he successfully campaigned to make it full-time in 1996. That same year he would marry his second wife, a marriage that would last 5 years. However, that year would also bring some devastating news. In May 1996, his brother Roy Gricar, who had only recently retired, told his wife that he was going out to buy lunch and never returned. Days later, his car was found abandoned at an Ohio park near the Great Miami River. His body was later pulled from the river, and his death was ruled a suicide. Sadly, Roy had struggled with depression for many years. Ray, who had been close to his older brother, was devastated by this loss, as was the rest of Roy's family. Ray would go on to be re-elected in 1997, and again in 2001. In 2002, Gricar began dating girlfriend Patty Fornicola, who was also an employee of the Centre County District Attorney's Office. He later moved into her childhood home on Half Moon Hill in Bellefonte. During his tenure, Gricar was described as a hands-on prosecutor who was dedicated to his work. In 2004, he announced he would not be seeking re-election and would be retiring by December 2005, shortly after his 60th birthday. However, he would not make it to retirement and would disappear before then. On April the 15th, 2005, Ray took a half-day off work and went for a drive. He loved taking long drives to relax and clear his head, so nothing about this set off any alarm bells, at least not initially. Ray told Patty of his plans to take the day off, and she thought it sounded like a good idea. Ray had been working hard for years, and lately it was appearing to catch up to him. Prior to his disappearance, Ray had been sleeping more often, sometimes taking naps after work, and had complained of feeling exhausted. A day off sounded like just what he needed. Patty told him to enjoy the day, and he said he would see her later that evening. At 11:30 a.m, Ray called Patty on his cell phone and told her he was driving down Route 192 towards Lewisburg in Union County. and he wouldn't be home in time to feed their dog. This was a drive he had made many times before, as he frequented some antique stores in that area, so nothing seemed unusual about this. Later that day, his girlfriend returned home from work, but Ray was nowhere to be seen. She went to the gym but found him still missing upon her return. Ray never returned home that night. The couple had a good relationship, and this was completely out of character. Patty filed a missing persons report to the police at 11:30 p.m. that day. The following day, investigators identified Gricar's red Mini Cooper in the parking lot of an antique store in Lewisburg. The car contained his county-issued cell phone, but not his laptop computer, keys or wallet. Investigators identified no signs of foul play, but strangely cigarette ashes were found inside the vehicle, and Ray dislikes cigarette smoke and would be unlikely to allow someone to smoke in his car. When investigators checked his home, they found no luggage, clothing or other belongings missing. The laptop's case and power source were left behind. Police and family members noted that the location of the vehicle, adjacent to two bridges over the Susquehanna River, bore some similarities to the location of the vehicle of Gricar's older brother Roy when he committed suicide in 1996. In the days following the discovery of Gricar's vehicle, authorities searched the river and its banks but found no sign of him. Police also noted that a sniffer dog's behaviour around where Gricar's car was found suggested that he might have gotten into another vehicle with someone else. Pennsylvania authorities asked the FBI to analyse Gricar's bank accounts, credit card records and cell phone records, but no clues as to where he might have been were found. After further investigation, multiple witnesses came forward to report having seen Ray on the day he went missing. He was spotted sitting in his parked red Mini Cooper across from the Packwood House Museum. One witness claimed to have seen Ray pacing back and forth before returning to sit in his vehicle once again. He appeared to be waiting for someone, but this wasn't definitively established. Several witnesses also reported seeing a man matching Gricar's description with an unidentified woman at an antiques market in Lewisburg. However, his family aren't convinced these particular sightings were really him. The last confirmed sighting of Ray was at 5:30 p.m. that day, when he was seen parking his car. Law enforcement also found out, through speaking to loved ones and tracking Ray's purchases, that he had purchased software to wipe his computer's hard drive shortly before his disappearance. A look at the search history on the home computer he shared with Patty revealed searches like how to fry a hard drive, how to wreck a hard drive, and water damage to a notebook computer. It wasn't a secret he was looking to do this, although maybe not to these lengths. Ray was retiring soon, and it made sense that he would clear his county-issued laptop of any sensitive information pertaining to the many cases he'd worked on over the years. But his disappearance would lead to many questions as to what was on there that Ray was desperate to get rid of. Another strange finding detectives found that someone, presumably Ray, had visited MapQuest on his work computer earlier that week, seeking directions from Bellefonte to Lewisburg. However, he had driven to Lewisburg many times before, and in theory shouldn't have needed directions. So were these directions for someone else, someone he was planning on meeting that day? Whatever happened that day, investigators had few leads to work with, until a few months later when they got a break that could shed more light onto what happened to Ray Gricar. In July 2005, Gricar's county-issued laptop with the hard drive physically removed was discovered by fishermen under the Route 45 bridge in the Susquehanna River, several hundred yards from where his car had been found. 2 months later, in October 2005, his laptop's hard drive was found on the banks of the Susquehanna River. Unfortunately, despite 2 FBI labs and a data recovery company working on it, they concluded that the hard drive was too damaged for data to be recovered. With that finding, it seemed to bring an end to any hope of finding out what happened to Ray on that day. No more credible leads seemed to come in after that point, and for those closest to him, they were left wondering if the answers will ever come. There are a few theories as to what happened to Gricar. The primary theory is he died by suicide, just as his brother had done previously, something supported by the similarities between the 2 cases. Police working on the case believed this theory to be the most likely, although his family do not believe this to be the case. He had no medical history of depression. He was also looking forward to his upcoming retirement. The second theory is that Gricar wished to start a new life and therefore engineered his disappearance. He allegedly expressed interest in the case of a Cleveland police chief who had disappeared in order to start a new life. The last theory, which seems just as likely, is that some type of foul play is involved. Ray was involved in lots of high-profile cases, and although authorities stated that no threats had been made against him and they did not believe his disappearance had anything to do with his job, it simply cannot be ruled out. One such case was that of Jerry Sandusky, the former Penn State college football coach and convicted serial child molester. Gricar's decision to decline to prosecute him for alleged child sex abuse because of a lack of evidence could possibly be linked to his disappearance. In December 2003, the lifeless body of 38-year-old Jonathan Luna, an assistant U.S. attorney in Baltimore, Maryland, was discovered next to a creek in rural Lancaster County. He had been stabbed 36 times and drowned. Some have speculated that Ray's disappearance could be linked to Luna's murder, though no evidence for this connection has ever been found. Just prior to his disappearance, Gricar had been involved in a police operation busting a heroin dealing ring, and the criminals concerned were investigated for any links to his disappearance, but none were found. Nearly all of the cases Ray worked on involved dangerous people who would be capable of making him disappear. In 2013, a source claimed that Gricar was murdered by a former member of the Hells Angels motorcycle gang in revenge for locking him up, but again nothing could be confirmed. In June of 2011, Gricar's daughter Lara, who was trustee of his estate, petitioned Centre County to declare him dead. Ray was declared legally dead in 2011, and to this day his case remains open and unsolved.